Welcome, first of all, Ben.
Well, thank you, Patrick.
Tremendous pleasure to have you. Let's talk a little bit about, you've talked to me over the last year or two about some of the things that you're doing to grow your business. Talk to the lawyers about what they can do to grow their business, how the business is changing, and what small firms need to do today.
Okay. In today's economy, one of the best ways to do your marketing and to get business in is networking. Networking is very easy to do, and we get most of our business at Neiburger Law from other attorneys. And it's very easy, of course, if you're an attorney to meet other attorneys, and there's a big social aspect of it too. One of the ways to meet a lot of attorneys is to volunteer for public speaking at CLE events. And through that, people know your expertise, but they get to meet you, and they get to see you a couple times. And then they ask you questions, and you always be available to ask questions when other attorneys call, and eventually they'll know that something in your expertise is something they can't do, or there'll be some malpractice, and so they'll refer things over. And so the networking is key. Also, bar events and at regular social events. Just be out there, but don't be advertising yourself, just what you do and hello, I'm a nice person. Because once people get to know you, then they will refer business to you. And so that's been very, very effective for us, and anybody can do it. But one caution, it takes 6 to 9 months to see results from the networking. So don't expect the rain to start falling if you do the networking. It does take some time.
Speaking of that, I imagine that's a rather difficult thing sometimes to actually measure in metrics, as to what type of return you're getting from either going out to associations or live events. Do you do anything in particular? When people call you for referral, do you talk to them a little bit about, do you remember me from something? Did you see me speaking somewhere? Did we meet somewhere before?
Sure. One of the things that we do is we use some software, practice management software that tracks contacts. And every time that we have a contact with somebody, we write a little note, or we dictate a note. Now, it's a lot of record keeping that you have to do, and it's a pain. But when somebody calls, before I speak to them, I can check in our records when I've spoken to them before. And I'll say 1 or 2 things about our previous conversation, and then they think that you're a sage because you remember all this stuff when all I was doing is looking at notes. And since the notes were computerized, and it can be in a simple file system under name, it really, really helps show that you care and you remember the other people. And also, whenever you get a referral or whenever somebody does something nice for you, write them a handwritten note. I mean, my handwriting is absolutely terrible. So they know that I've written the note, and it just says, "Dear referring lawyer, thank you so much for referring the client. I'll try to take care of them as well as I can. Thank you very much." And that's all you have to do. It's very easy, but it does take some follow-up and some diligence.
That's great. I don't really want to plug any particular brand, but I mean, you said you're using some software, and I do want these vignettes to give the audience some content and ideas.
Sure.
Do you know a few companies out there that are producing software such as this?
There are a bunch of companies that are producing software, and I only know the one that I've been using, which is called Time Matters, and it's published by LexisNexis. The program is wonderful, but it has a real steep learning curve in the beginning, so you have to have a toleration for a lot of pain as you set this up. And then eventually when it gets working, it's quite amazing. But each of these software packages can be quite complex. I would suggest if you're moving this into your practice, you try it with one lawyer and one secretary, or if you're just by yourself, just have it on your laptop, don't network it yet, and then gradually explore more and more. And if you're going to implement it across a couple of staff members, I would do it on a going forward basis. I wouldn't do a big backwards conversion, just because that will increase the pain and you should be practicing law rather than playing with computers.